We first found out in 1991, probably going back a few years. We had already been selling padlocks to a couple of self-storage places in Sydney. And we just thought, it's just another business to sell padlocks to. We had no idea about any association. And we were dealing with Miller's Self-Storage. The wonderful Barbara and Les Hart were the managers. And Les came to us one day to collect some padlocks that we'd prepared. And he said, we're having this conference on the Gold Coast in October. How about you come up and show your padlocks? And my late husband, Robert, and I, we'd never done anything like that before, attended and displayed at a conference, and we said, okay, all right. And it was a real eye-opener. We met all the people who were involved in the association. There were other trade suppliers there from the States, all over Australia. On the board at that time, I can remember there was Neville Kenner, there was Bob Marsh, there was Liz Davies, and so we did display our padlocks and spoke to everyone about them, and we got good reception, and it just took off from there. There were some challenges, yes. We had to convince everyone that we had a good product and to take up our product. It was a bit different to just going and buying padlocks from a hardware store. When you're in self-storage, you don't want a repeat of keys. And we specifically went to a supplier who could make the padlocks with the numerous 2,800 combinations. So that was always trying to convince people that this was necessary. We had a big challenge in the early days because the original supplier we went to, those people came out and set up business in competition to us. They tried to get into self-storage. We succeeded because we went to every quarterly meeting that the association had. We went to every conference the association had. So we met people constantly, whereas these other people, all they did was put an ad in the magazine at that time and would just ring up people. This is what's so wonderful about the association, that not only have we been dealing business to business, we've also made friendships amongst the people that we deal with. I can tell you one story. In the very early days, we were up at the Gold Coast and Robert and I were going around visiting various facilities. And of course, back in those days, you had to rely on the yellow pages. So you got the yellow pages and the list and you visited all the different sites. We drove up this long driveway and there was this row of very old sheds, and the office was in another very old shed, and we both looked at one another and thought, this is going to be a challenge. And we saw the manager, and of course we did our little talk about locks, and she said, "Oh, love," she said, and she pulled out this drawer, and there was all these old locks of different stages of. And she said, "Oh, if anyone comes without a padlock, I just give them one of these." And I thought, okay, all right then. Well, we gave her our card and left. Anyway, not so long after that, we're in the bus tour as part of the conference. And we pull up this long drive, and Robert and I both look at one another. We've been here before, but we drove in and the whole place had been converted. They were in the throes of putting in the finishing touches, 2-storey, modern complex. We couldn't believe our eyes. So thankfully, somehow they'd been in touch with the association and the suppliers and had converted their site.